Hi everybody, Tyler here. So today I want to talk about an artist you guys may not know as well as some of the other artists I've talked about, someone who you may be unfamiliar with. And so the artist I want to talk about today is a guy named Gordon Lightfoot. Um, it's hard to put him into a genre, but I think he's most generally categorized in the singer-songwriter genre. So more acoustic, with few instrumental additions aside from singer and guitar. Of course, there are a few little pieces here and there, but it's generally more folk oriented and much more heavily based around creating a story that comes out through the lyrics. Some of his contemporaries are people like Richard Thompson, who's another singer-songwriter. Um, Really fantastic, does a great job of creating stories. But back to Gordon Lightfoot. I really, I guess I should preface this with saying I really had no idea who this guy was. But my dad is a huge fan, and he says, like, Tyler, you've got to listen to this album. It's fantastic. And I was like, okay, sounds great. I'll listen to it. And this was at a time when I was just absolutely consuming new music. And I mean, of course I do that today, but I was just, anything new I would listen to. I didn't care what it was. And I just was entranced by the way that his voice works so well with his acoustic guitar, and really it like transports your mind into these faraway situations and lands. One of my favorite of his songs is called the Canadian Railroad Trilogy, and when you listen to it, it's very evident why it's named that. It's very distinctly separated into three different stylistic sections. But it's about the building of the railroads in Canada, and it tells this story of the men coming into these forests and these open lands, and cutting down the trees, laying down the track. It's such an evocative style, and I think it works really well with his voice and the tonal quality of his music, because it's very, I don't want to say like lofty, but it flows at like a high level really, really well. And I think he does a really good job of putting together these phrases in both guitar and voice that continue to carry the listener on through each of the different sections of the songs. I mean, he has some excellent songs about, like Don Quixote, all these kind of things, these very evocative stories that bring images and places to mind. I mean, when I listen to the Canadian Railroad Trilogy, I can just see the pine trees and the mountains in my head, and he does such an excellent job of bringing those images to life in music. And I think that a lot of other genres focus on a lot of other different things, whether it's elicting an emotion or elicting a kind of response to the music that isn't necessarily so much a story, but more of a emotion that it's pulling out of you. And there might be, a message or some kind of story in that song, but it isn't necessarily the main focus. The emotion that the words are giving you are generally the main focus. And I think that that kind of writing is very, very well captured in this kind of genre, because it's easy to understand all the lyrics, it's easy to follow along, it's not heavy on choruses, it's more heavy on the verse, which is of course where the story lies, and that's actually true of many of Gordon Lightfoot's songs. Very light on the choruses, and of course his songs do have choruses, but it's much more heavily focused on the verse, and I think that's something that's a little bit out of place in a lot of contemporary music. So if you guys are looking for something a little bit different, someone to sing you a rip roaring yarn about building railroads, or sailing on the ocean blue and things like that, definitely give Gordon Lightfoot a try. He's a lot of fun. His music is upbeat and catchy. At times can also be very slow and sad. It does a really good job of creating these images and scenes with the music, but also pulling you in emotionally into those stories. And please check him out. He's a great artist. I would highly recommend starting off with Canadian Railroad Trilogy as the first song to listen to. It's kind of long, but it's a really, really fun song and kind of covers the length and breadth of a lot of the style that he plays. Um, I hope you guys enjoyed the review, I guess the spotlight. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Are there any other singer-songwriters you'd like to hear me talk about or that you really love? And don't forget to like and subscribe and find me on other social media. I'll provide links below to where you can follow me on Twitter and find me on Tumblr and all that kind of stuff. Thanks so much. I hope you guys all have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.